You're looking at a kid जो पूरे जीवन भर गवर्नमेंट स्कूल में पढ़ा है. The first result was very very good. सबकी जॉब लग रही थी. I think people got into Amazon, Flipkart. आपकी स्कूल वाला क्लास नहीं है कि दो बच्चे पढ़ रहे हैं तो आप you can continue to teach and you can leave the remaining 48 up. And there's nobody who's solving education at scale. Why don't I do it? बताओ कैसे है?
बस सही. अब बताओ क्या चल रहा है आजकल, कहाँ?
बस आई थिंक जो डिस्कस कर रहे थे अभी अभी आया हूँ. आई थिंक 3.5 वीक्स का वो था co-working co-living सेटअप हिमाचल में. मोस्टली नीचे ही था, धर्मशाला बीर यही सब. अभी आई थिंक there's a friend coming. He also has a very small, like a very decent size app he has built. So he works most in Thailand. So वो आएगा. And so one more friend. So we three were in BE during COVID. तो मैं सोच रहे एक दो हफ्ते के लिए we might co-work together from Whoopee या कुछ workplace. But was still tentative.
सही है. नाइस. भाई आपने एजुकेशन स्पेस में बहुत काम किया है. मतलब you have seen it very closely. मतलब in and out you have been volunteering, you have been pro, like reforms about education. तो थोड़ा बताओगे अपना experience and what are you doing these days, what you have done in past couple of years. So let's start from beginning. मतलब about your passion about education.
I think अब वो नीड कम फील होती है. But I think it starts primarily from college. I think अगर college का third year देखें या when I started teaching a bit in college, ऐसे ही मतलब chill करने के लिए थोड़ा और like very few people were interested in coding. I think one of the major motivations was to get more like-minded people, and I think that was one way to do it, is to teach a bit. And that's like I wasn't very active, but we were teaching every Thursday, Friday, and that went on for a year, close to a year, and that got my interest in teaching. But then इसका एक second पहलू start होता है when I joined HackerRank, and उसके बाद part time I was still in touch with a lot of my college juniors, and that number grew. मतलब वो the number of things I was receiving back then on Facebook was like way too much. So मैंने सोचा यार ठीक है WhatsApp group बना लेते हैं, right? And फिर उसमें कुछ automations डाल दिए, reverse engineer कर ली थी WhatsApp की. यही तो वो थोड़ा fun hacky भी चला side में मतलब. But yeah, so I think back then we were trying to ask people to build projects. This is 2016 and some parts of 2017 की बात है. And इसमें मजा आया, लोगों ने बनाए projects कुछ. But I realized most people were there to like figure मतलब to see the content but not actually code. तो वो part हो गया. मतलब observers बहुत आएंगे जो करने वाले, that will always be 10-15% or even less. That's also a big number. और वो हर जगह दिखेगा I think life में. I think वो धीरे धीरे और I think even back then when I was teaching, like the first day I used to announce कि I'm teaching like back from a semester or something, there used to be 40 people. And फिर एक दो दिन के बाद से there used to be 10-15 people जो कि continuous रहते थे. I think वो numbers थे. फिर उसे मजा आया. And then I think as a startup that wasn't working out. I didn't really even मतलब उसको देख भी नहीं आता as a startup. But बीच में for some part I thought about it कि can I make it to a startup? And मतलब truly speaking मतलब I don't think I had like कि what is a startup या कैसे पैसे बनाते हैं या business क्या होता है.
ये कब की बात है? ये कब की बात है?
2016, 2017 की. हाँ.
तो आपका एम था कि मुझे कोडिंग सिखानी है बच्चों को, मतलब अपस्किल करना है?
एम नहीं था. हाँ, बहुत लोग आते थे तो मैं उनके लिए मैंने GitHub पे कुछ प्रोजेक्ट्स बना दिए थे. Some were half baked, right?
मतलब योर इंटेंशन वाज कि बच्चे अपस्किल हो, मतलब लोग अपस्किल हो, बच्चे स्पेशली लाइक जूनियर्स और बच्चे.
Yes. And these were mostly college students. So at our peak, we had 15,000 people in WhatsApp groups, right? Fully automated हो जा रही हैं, AMAs हो रही हैं, काफी चीजें ऑटोमेट कर रखी थी. जो प्रोजेक्ट्स को स्टार्ट करना चाहता है उसकी रिकॉर्डिंग हो रही है WhatsApp पर ही, उसको वहीं पे लिंक जा रहे हैं, ऑल ऑफ दैट. बहुत ही बेसिक जगह. एंड अगर मैं अब देखूं तो शायद उतने की रिक्वायरमेंट भी नहीं थी. इट वाज फन टू बिल्ड एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट. सो यस, but then I think I started volunteering with Navgurukul. Navgurukul was a non-for-profit. They had just started राइट, उनको स्टार्ट करे हुए कुछ समय हुआ था.
नवगुरुकुल के बारे में थोड़ा बताओ, मतलब
Navgurukul
your-
started with these two guys, Abhishek and Rishabh. Both of them are very, very good friends now, right?
Hmm.
You know, I met them because they started that, and we
वो
met.
करता क्या है नवगुरुकुल?
Navgurukul teaches underprivileged students. They have a 1-year residential program which is totally free. I think now they have many more courses, but they used to have a 1-year residential program for software for students from underprivileged backgrounds to become software developers.
Nice.
So
And you were
काफी-
teaching there, associated
हाँ.
with them.
टीचिंग थोड़ा करिकुलम बनाना था. टीचिंग तो ज़्यादा नहीं होती थी, एक्टिव टीचिंग होती थी. कभी कभी क्लास ले लो, बट करिकुलम बनाना, सेट करना, पीएल लर्निंग प्रोसेस करना, एंड यस सम पार्ट्स ऑफ टीचिंग. क्योंकि जैसे जब रिएक्ट आई है या नोड आया है, हमने कंटेंट ही नहीं मिल रहा हमें हिंदी में. एंड दिस इज ऑल्सो वेरी मच ऑफ यूट्यूब एक्सपोजर. मतलब वो फटा है 2020-21-22 or something when of YouTubers or ton of educators came and started making content in all languages, and which is very very good. मतलब वो चीज़ नहीं थी. So हम देखते थे अच्छा किसका कंटेंट, कोर्सेरा कौन सा कंटेंट हिंदी में ट्रांसलेट करे जिससे बच्चे सीखे, फिर धीरे धीरे इंग्लिश भी सीखे, जिससे बात की क्लास इंग्लिश में ही हो जाए, एंड ऑल दैट. सो दैट वाज फन, बट आई रियलाइज्ड कि हाउ लर्निंग हैपेंस. आई थिंक दैट पहले वाले प्रोसेस में फोकस वाज ऑन टीचिंग कि प्रोजेक्ट बना लोगे जॉब लग जाएगी, जो कर रहा है वो कर. यहाँ पे ऐसा नहीं था. यहाँ पे बहुत डिफरेंट डायनामिक्स था. यू आर लुकिंग एट अ किड जो पूरे जीवन भर गवर्नमेंट स्कूल में पढ़ा है, राइट? उसकी मैथ्स बैकग्राउंड, इंग्लिश बैकग्राउंड बहुत ही वीक है. एंड अगर मैथ्स वीक है तो यार उसको चीजें समझने में भी आपसे ज्यादा टाइम लगेगा. एंड देयर इज नो वे यू कैन लीव समबडी कि यार आपकी स्कूल वाला क्लास नहीं है कि 2 बच्चे पढ़ रहे हैं तो आप यू कैन कंटिन्यू टू टीच एंड यू कैन लीव द रिमेनिंग 48 आवर्स. You have to get everyone a job and you have to make a curriculum जो कि accessible है, जो कि समझ में आ रहा है, and all of that. So that changed. मतलब वो काफी decent और difficult process था initially. It was translating content, समझना क्या अच्छा ठीक है ये example समझ में नहीं है, इसका context सही नहीं है. So contextualization करना, it was fun. And it had a lot of learning. तो बहुत मजा आता है. And I was spending I think every weekend with them. बीच में 1-1.5 साल तो ऐसे बहुत गया है कि मतलब ऐसे 70% of the weekends तो मतलब I was just spending at Navgurukul. Then COVID hit. नहीं, COVID से पहले then I took a sabbatical from HackerRank to help them get jobs. वो Navgurukul गया, then धर्मशाला में रहा. So it was also like fun. But I was staying in the Himachal and it was the first time I spent like 3 months in Dharamshala. So I think उसके बाद तो हर साल probably काफी लंबे duration हिमाचल गया हूँ. But yes, I think so धर्मशाला में रहा and I was helping students get jobs वहाँ पे, mainly focus jobs पे था कि how do we कि उन्होंने पढ़ाई कर ली है, जॉब आ जाए. I think 2020 is when COVID hit. I realized I understand a decent level about education. I understand tech. And there's nobody who's solving education at scale. Why don't I do it? And that was the thesis for DevSness was that we'll solve education at scale and we'll keep it extremely affordable. Right? And उसके बाद फिर चीजें ऐड करते गए. But this is the main thesis कि यार can we rightly मतलब teaching नहीं, can we make students learn at scale? कि कोर्सेरा का कोर्स सबको अवेलेबल है, राइट? या यूडेमी का कोर्स सबको अवेलेबल है 200-500 रुपए में, बट ओनली बहुत ही कम लोग उससे कंप्लीट करते हैं. सो आई स्टार्टेड DevStest एंड द आइडिया वाज दैट वी मेक इट अफोर्डेबल. एंड ट्रायल लेने के लिए आई स्टार्टेड विद सम बूट कैंप्स with like 20-30 students कि can I get them jobs. And the first result was very very good. सबकी जॉब लग रही थी. I think people got into Amazon, Flipkart, and all of these students were from my college, KIT. So which is slightly unheard of. मतलब students were able to crack good jobs, but इतनी अच्छी jobs उस time तक नहीं क्रैक हो रही क्लियर, वो भी काफी सारे बच्चों से. I thought okay, there is a slight level of, or a decent level of impact जो हुआ है. So why don't I try it for a larger audience? And that's when I met Kshitij and we started thinking about this, and we launched our full-fledged online bootcamp, which had 500 students. Now this was a 7-month bootcamp, but escalated into a 8 or 9-month bootcamp. So you were teaching DSA, front end, back end, very project driven, very learning driven. I think the second thesis which I was talking about is there's very little role of a teacher. The majority of the role is of the community. अगर आपके आसपास अच्छे पढ़ रहे हैं, आप साथ में You are learning together. You will eventually learn. And the idea was कि वो सीखें. मैं सिखाऊं वो important नहीं है. So that difference is something which I really wanted to focus on. And I think the results of this 500 batch was also very, very amazing. We had around 80 students who got into Amazon. We had students into all majority of the companies coming up उस time पे. सारे fintechs में गए थे. काफी amazing result था. And we were at one point just asking students, does anybody wants a job? Because there were more people coming to us that, do you have more students? And we had nobody. Like, everybody was placed and they were all happy and किसी को सोच नहीं मारना था. मैंने कहा ठीक है, मतलब ऐसी प्रॉब्लम भी मतलब it's a very good problem to have. कि I cannot tell the recruiters or the people reaching out my network, I don't have more people.
Oh,
And
wow.
then
That's nice.
and I think that was a very high moment for us. And then we launched our second major bootcamp where we wanted to do like a very, very large bootcamp. So we reached out to almost all the colleges and in India. We reached out to communities. बहुत जगह है ना. We even got some international students coming in from Southeast Asia. From like I think 500 students came from Africa, and we overall we had around close to 18,000 students who joined us for the second major bootcamp. And I don't know for the numbers, but it is one of the largest boot camps in the world, if not the largest. And this was again like a 9-month boot camp where students were seeing, and by the end of this boot camp, the market kind of shifted. The layoffs started.
Yeah.
The job market was going down, and it was slightly difficult to get jobs. But still, all the good students who had done the boot camp completely, who had done the projects, were still finding jobs. Just the recruiters weren't coming to us, right? And we realized nobody was ready to pay us. Like our business model was that companies should pay us and we will not charge students, which we haven't vetted properly. Like we haven't seen for the downturns ki job market ऊपर नीचे जाएगा. So will the companies be ready to do that? But that's when we realized that we had a model which has a great impact, but we have zero business. So we should either find a business or make enough money to run it as a non-for-profit outside. Because we didn't want to raise money as a non-for-profit or switch to a non-for-profit entity. We wanted to do it on our own terms, अपने पैसे से ये सब. So I think वहाँ पे बहुत clarity मिल गई थी कि we were mixing business and impact. And I think people were saying this to me continuously since day one of starting up business, कि you're mixing business and impact. You're mixing business and impact. Businesses should have impact, but business should be first. And I think वो clarity चमकी है when you have spent when we have spent 2.53 years into the market, right? And the next 1 year we tried different experiments. None majorly worked. Some worked. Like we were able to get to some level of revenues, but we realized we wouldn't be able to make a decent size revenue making company, right? On our own terms of what it wanted to become. So we paused the rest. I think that was the journey. I think over and on.
So the intent from what I understood was that you wanted to create a large scale impact as well as make money during the process. But you realized with time that it is a really hard thing to do, where you have affordability and have impact and have profit at the same time.
Yes. I think even doing one is very hard. Even doing
and you were trying to do like three of them like together.
These things. But yeah, even creating a great large scale impact is very, very difficult on its own. And creating a solid business with solid principles, mixing both of them was a recipe for disaster. And I think also I wasn't really listening to a ton of good people, and I was continuously talking to them, and they were saying, there's something missing. You're mixing two things. It's very, very hard. Like, okay, but I'll make it work. I'm different. So there's some basics which you have to stick to. So yeah, it was fine.
But yeah, I think wonderful journey. I think congrats on the impact, like the lives you changed of so many students. Like, it's just commendable. Like,